How many like being around high-level people? That's why I live my life. High-level people. And the thing is, people say, well, I'm going to go see a venture capitalist. I need money for my real estate project. You know, as soon as you walk in the door, they observe you. Does this person make the room brighter or do they make the room dimmer? They also watch when you walk into the room, does this person attract people to them or do they repel people? If you walk into a hotel or a conference center, you're in a restaurant, and you walk in, are the staff drawn to that man or woman or that couple or that group of people, or are they repelled by them? Does the concierge, the valet parker, the front desk staff, the general manager, are they drawn to that person or are they repelled by that person? Does that make sense? It's an awareness. So when you walk in, do you brighten the room or do you dim the room? Some of you say, well, gosh, I go to a dinner party this weekend. I don't know who to talk to. Talk to the ones that brighten the room. If you want to create advocates, supporters, believers, followers, and fans, talk to the ones that brighten up the room. Talk to the ones that come in and attract people to them versus repel people. Does that make sense? Another one is, when you leave tonight, you're either memorable or forgettable. You're either memorable or you're forgettable. You're either memorable or forgettable. So the key thing is the mindset is being a go-giver. So you want to go-give. You want to contribute to people's lives. Here's the key question. You want to write this down. What is the best way for me to contribute to your life this year? What is the best way for me to contribute to your life this year? Just on a survey, because I like to do case studies and surveys, how many in this room in the last 30 days have been asked that question? What is the best way for me to contribute to your life? Look around the room. You have?
I think by you. Though.
By me. That's good.
Yeah.
So how many of you notice, is that a powerful question? What is the best way for me to contribute to your life? What automatically, if I asked you, Leslie, what is the best way for me to, so you're in your life, Leslie, we just met, may I ask you a personal question? What would be the best way for me to contribute to your life?
Send some people to my seminar.
Okay. So Leslie, send some people to your seminar. Who would be the ideal advocate to come to your seminar?
Someone who's probably had to deal with their parents.
Okay.
Their ill parents, yeah.
So you tell me more about that?
Well, when you've experienced having to deal with your parents or maybe family members, then you're more likely to understand what is required and what everything that's involved with that.
How many can relate to what you just said? Now, do you see Leslie differently or feel Leslie different or hear Leslie differently now than when she stood up earlier? Because now you have a emotional connection to her. Does that make sense? Now you know that she deals with people's pain. She deals with people's lives. John, when I talked to you earlier, John works, do you know what industry he's in? What industry is he in?
Home care.
Home care. I asked John, I said, what you do, I really appreciate and acknowledge what you do because you deal with people's challenges and stress. And also, he deals with people that have to go through a transitional period of putting their parents into a senior's home. And sometimes they live a long ways away. Or sometimes there's family disputes and arguments. So I started with acknowledging him. So it's very important you do something. So the thing is, you want to practice this stuff. Now, let me share something else with you. Your must-meet list. How many agree that the world is getting smaller with regards to technology? Let me give you a case study. Back in 1967, what year? Stanley Milgram from the United States of America did a wonderful case study called The Law of 6 Degrees of Separation. And what Stanley Milgram discovered is that we were 6 degrees or 6 handshakes away from anybody on planet Earth. Now, because of the internet and technology, we're less than 3 degrees of separation from anybody on the planet. So, one thing it's important is, how many are on Twitter? How many are on Facebook? Okay, LinkedIn? Okay, good. So some of you are on social networking. So how many of you ever look at who their friends list is on Facebook or Twitter? Some of you do research on that, right? Absolutely, right? Why is that important?
You might know somebody.
You might know somebody, sure, yeah. Why else?
Somebody you want to
Connect with? Does it also possibly give you visibility and credibility? Right? Can give you visibility and credibility, right? I do a lot of stuff on television, media all the time around the world, right? And it doesn't pay you to be on TV or radio, but it gives you visibility and credibility on a consistent basis. I want you to write down this website. It's called helpareporterout.com. How many are familiar with this? Good. Helpareporterout.com. I've been on it since it started. Helpareporterout.com. If you follow through to the emails, it doesn't matter what industry, what business you're in. Right? You're an investor, you're looking for investors. You could do a story on looking for investors in the Bay Area, and people from all over the world will read that. What it is media is looking to interview people for stories. And they send you up to three emails a day, Monday to Friday, and you can respond to them. Okay? It's another tool to work with. Now, what is your must-meet list? Who would you like to meet on the planet that's alive today, a man or a woman? Now, you think, well, why is that important? Well, maybe you want to meet a Nobel Peace Prize winner. Maybe you want to meet a scientist. Maybe you want to meet a best-selling author. Maybe you want to meet a movie star, Oprah Winfrey or Donald Trump or Sir Richard Branson. Or maybe you want to meet somebody you haven't seen in 10 or 20 or 30 years. The must-meet list I've done for a number of years. Let me give you the statistics from last year, 2009. I wrote down 15 people's names. People I didn't know, didn't have access to. I have a network in over 100-plus countries on the planet now, by taking massive, consistent action over the last 15 years. And then technology came in the last couple of years with social networking, and I'm like, wow, this just helps things work a lot better. What you do is you write down his or her name. And for me, last year in 2009, I wrote down 15 people's names. I did not meet all 15 people. I met 13 out of the 15 people. 11 of those people I had breakfast, lunch, or dinner with, and some more than once. One gentleman that I met introduced me to 7 of those 13 people that were in his inner circle. I had a woman last September here in this city. I was doing an event for unemployed people, and her dream was to meet Carlos Santana. Do you know he lives here in the area? Okay. 8 hours later, we're at a dinner party to celebrate the festivities of the event that we're at, and Dr. John Gray wrote the book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. He walks in, and Carlos Santana walked in. And there was people in that room that day on their must-meet list had written down Dr. John Gray and Carlos Santana. And less than 24 hours later, they had met both people. So why is it important? Because it's not what you know, it's what? It's who they know that knows you. You see, here's something I'd like you to write down. Never assume you're not being observed. Never assume that you're not being observed. 4 of the 13 people that are on my must-meet list for last year, when I met with them, they already knew who I was. One gentleman had been watching me for almost 3 years. He's at a very high level. Another gentleman is one of the top guys in Hollywood in the movie business, Gary Goldstein. Does anybody know Gary? Gary's a friend of mine, great guy. Created a little movie called Pretty Woman. Under Siege, did over $1 billion in ticket sales. So you create your must-meet list. Now let me ask you a question. Who are some people you would love to meet? Shout out some names of people. Oprah Winfrey, yeah. Chris Brogan, yeah. Richard Branson, yeah, absolutely. Dalai Lama, yes. Who else? Jon Stewart, sure, yeah. Who else? Scott Kilby, yeah. Sean Connery, yes. Who else? Yeah. Yeah.